Hopefully everybody has enjoyed the videos that we've shared about our vacation to Disneyland Paris that we did in September and October of this year. And we just wanted to include one more video with some of our thoughts about various aspects of the trip that may be helpful for you to know if you are thinking about maybe planning your own trip to Disneyland Paris. One of the things we did that was really cool was we took a tour of Disneyland Park, and we got to learn a lot about the history of the park.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. She had a lot of stories of all the different areas, and I wish I remembered half of them. But it was definitely fun. It was 3 hours, 2?
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 hours. And yeah, a lot of information, a lot of walking. We didn't get to ride any of the rides or anything like they do a lot of the times with the tours at Disneyland or Disney World, but it was still something that we really enjoyed and would recommend if you have an interest in the history of Disney parks and Walt Disney himself and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
One really neat thing about the Disneyland Park at Disneyland Paris is they have these long walkways down either side of Main Street. So you have Main Street that goes up the center and the shops and the restaurants and the things on either side. But kind of behind that, they're called the arcades. There's the Discoveryland arcade and the Frontierland arcade. And they're kind of like these little hidden passageways that just bypass Main Street and all the crowds altogether. They're covered, which is nice because, again, getting out of the rain is very important there in Paris. But those things are really neat, and we wish that we had them here at the parks in the States.
Definitely, yeah, it's a good way to bypass the crowds during a parade. And there was neat little interesting things to see in there. A little bit of history. It showed like the little model of the framework for the Statue of Liberty and stuff like that. So little interesting things in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely made leaving the park right after the fireworks a lot easier too.
Yeah.
The flow of all the guests leaving the park at the same time was much better with those two arcades.
Okay, so one thing about their Frontierland that I enjoyed was that they still have in their, the way the front looks like a fort, an old wooden fort, that you can still go up inside on the second level. There's still little dioramas and figures posed in the little nooks and crannies, and you know, you go up there and get kind of a bird's eye view of Frontierland, and I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was really neat. Something else that was really cool and unique to Disneyland Paris is Alice's Curious Labyrinth in Fantasyland. It's this great maze that's themed to the cartoon Alice in Wonderland, and there's all kinds of figures from the movie, like the caucus race, and there's a floral Cheshire cat, and the Queen of Hearts pops up here and there. And it was a really great thing to walk through. We had a fun time with that.
Yeah, I think a couple of guards popped up here and there too. It was very fun. I'm not even sure if it's possible to actually get lost, but there were a lot of hidden pathways, a little different ways to get to it, and there was really cool Queen of Hearts castle in the center that gave you a really awesome view of Frontier or Fantasyland. So it was fun to actually get there as well, and then to see it once you got there was really cool.
Disneyland Paris actually has two parks. They have Disneyland Park, which is most like Disneyland in California and Magic Kingdom at Disney World in Orlando. And then they also have Walt Disney Studios. I believe it's the smallest Disney park in the world. They are doing a lot of additions to that park, so a lot of things were under construction. It is a cute little park. I'm excited to see what the additions are going to be. And we did enjoy the Rendezvous Gourmand, the International Food Festival that was there at Disney Studios.
Yeah, that was a good time. There were a dozen or so booths down the pathway, and each one of them had different food and beer and wine. It is also where the Toy Story area is. I think they call it Toy Story Playground. That is also very well themed little area. The studios also has a little backlot tour and the Lights Motors Action Stunt Show, which is a lot of fun, and the Tower of Terror.
They also had something called Stitch Live, which is a lot like Turtle Talk with Crush, but it's with Stitch, and you get to go and interact with Stitch. And one thing that was really cool was they actually had two separate versions of the attraction, one in French and one in English. So whichever language you were more comfortable in, you could go and interact with Stitch in that language, and we thought that was really cool.
There at the parks, a lot of stuff was both in French and in English, especially the important stuff you needed to know. The ride safety stuff, hands and arms inside the vehicles at all times and stuff like that. Some things were even in German and Italian.
Yeah, most of the cast members spoke at least some English. A lot of them spoke multiple languages, and the flag representing the country of whatever languages they spoke would be on their name tag, so you would know who you could talk to. Most of the cast members were really friendly and helpful, just like cast members here in the States. The parks were very clean and well maintained. I don't remember seeing anything that looked like it wasn't very well kept, which was really kind of outstanding, because there are far fewer cast members at Disneyland Paris than we have at Disneyland and at Disney World. But to still see that same standard of cleanliness and upkeep was really amazing. Another thing that was a little odd was the toilet paper in the bathrooms in the parks was more like Kleenex. They were like individual little rectangular pieces in a stack.
Yeah, tiny little sheets, not what we're used to.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that.
Yeah, that was interesting. One thing though that Disneyland Paris does have in common with the parks here in the US is they have gone exclusively to paper straws, which we really
not a fan.
Do not like the paper straws.
I can taste the difference. I don't like it.
So we purchased silicone straws and brought them with us. Carried them in a Ziploc bag in my purse, so that when we had a drink that we needed a straw for, we could bypass the paper straw and use our own silicone straw. But that's something that you might want to know about in advance if you're planning a trip to Disneyland Paris. Something else that's different at Disneyland Paris has got to be the food.
Yeah.
It was hard to find food at Disneyland Paris. It was hard to find a restaurant that was open and serving.
Especially in the morning.
Yeah, especially in the morning. One afternoon we actually had a reservation to eat lunch at Walt's restaurant, but they had decided not to open the restaurant that day. So we weren't able to eat there, and we had to find a reservation someplace else.
Yeah, and when we asked the cast member about it, like later or the next day, they're like, yeah, that happens. Sometimes restaurants don't open, so be prepared for that. A lot of them opened late. I think we were looking for a snack at like 10 o'clock in the morning and found one cart with their Halloween options that were also strange.
I was starving, and all we could find was this little grilled cheese sandwich.
Colored.
That one piece of bread was black and one piece was bright orange. And it was just the two pieces of bread and some melted cheese. It wasn't great. The food in general was not as good as what we're used to at Disneyland and Disney World.
It is a little like you know, what used to be the standard for theme park food. It's there and it's overpriced, but it's edible.
We did have a few really great experiences though. The first one was we had lunch at Auberge de Cendrillon, which is in Fantasyland, and it's Cinderella's Inn is, I believe, the translation, and it's a character meal. We saw Cinderella's mice.
Yeah, the mice were there. That was different. I haven't seen those as characters in a good long time, so that was fun. I think it was Perla and
Susie. Yeah, Susie and Perla were there. And Cinderella,
of course, Ariel,
and Aurora, and I think Snow White.
Yep. Yeah, Snow White too. Yeah. And it was very interesting to see them go from our table to talk to us in English, but then you could hear them at the next table and they would switch right over to French so well. And it was fun to see them still interact, you know, with little ones and stuff like that. And just, I mean, when they were interacting with us, it was so much fun.
It was really great as far as character meals go. We had great interactions with all of the characters, and the food was also really good. I would definitely go back there again. I would definitely recommend going and enjoying a meal there at Auberge de Cendrillon. Another really great meal experience that we had was we did the tasting menu at the California Grill. The California Grill is located inside of the Disneyland Hotel. So we got to sit right by a window and watch the fireworks.
Yeah, we got to see the fireworks.
As we enjoyed our dinner, and it was a 7-course meal of whatever the chef felt like sending out.
Yeah. They said what each course was, like starter, appetizer, meat, fish, and dessert. But that was as much info as you got. And the chef will bring out what he wants.
Yeah, they asked us if we had any allergies.
Yeah, they were good.
But that was pretty much it. Like, I don't even think they asked if we had any dietary restrictions, and they certainly didn't ask us about likes or dislikes.
If we didn't like something, yeah.
Which, I mean, we don't have any food allergies, we don't have any dietary restrictions. So that wasn't a big deal for us, but maybe something to keep in mind if you go, just to make sure that they're aware of that. But, and I wish that I had paid closer attention or had a better recall of what it was that they served us.
Yeah, what each thing was,
I don't think anything that they brought out was anything that either one of us would have ordered having seen it on the menu.
No.
But everything was wonderful.
Yeah, very, very delicious. You know, I remember a couple things looked very interesting and I wouldn't have thought to order it. But they were all very good. And,
yeah, just a delicious meal, very nice atmosphere. It's kind of a fancier place. And we really enjoyed it. It was a really great evening together.
The restaurant was beautiful, very, very nice place to sit and eat.
And then the third really great dining experience that we had was dinner at King Ludwig's in Disney Village. And it's, I don't know, how would you describe the theming?
It was I thought it was like an old German castle, very wooden, lots of old dark woodwork inside, but huge paintings and tapestries of this King Ludwig. They served very big beers. They were all very tasty. The food was really, really good. And the atmosphere looked really cool.
The prices there were quite reasonable for being on Disney property.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that in mind if you're planning to go, if you want somewhere to get a tasty meal that's not gonna totally break your budget. Would definitely recommend King Ludwig's. Food is, I thought that the food was more expensive at Disneyland Paris. than what we typically see at Disneyland or Disney World. But the merchandise was cheaper.
And that was definitely a nice point too, that you didn't have to add in the tax. You know, that it was already done for you.
Yeah, I really like that. I feel like we should do more of that here.
Yeah, I love that. The chocolate was tastier. The chocolate was so much better.
Definitely buy the chocolate. Go to Disneyland Paris. Buy all the chocolate.
Yes.
It is delicious and you will not be sad. We stayed at the Hotel Santa Fe on Disneyland property there at Disneyland Paris. It is the cheapest of the Disney hotels there in Paris. It is themed to Cars right now, the Cars movies from Disney Pixar, and Route 66, and just Santa Fe and New Mexico kind of in general, which I'm sure is a lot more exotic when you're not from Arizona.
Yeah, when you're not used
but it was very cute. It was very well done. A lot of little touches, the Cars characters here and there. So great job, I think, with the theming. Everything was clean and comfortable. I found the beds and the pillows there to be really comfortable. I didn't have any issues with that.
We're worried, you know, today we've got all kinds of different stuff that needs a power cord and to charge overnight, and phones and tablets and things, and especially with the video camera and trying to get stuff, so we were worried about that. But I think we went more prepared than we needed to. There were still 4 or 5 outlets, and all you needed was, we found these little transformers.
Yeah, we did. We bought a handful of voltage adapters, which will allow you to plug your American electronics into a French wall plug. We bought a couple of voltage converters, which convert the voltage that's being put out to what you're plugging in.
Device can accept.
Yeah, which most things don't really require that converters. Hair dryers definitely do require that, but they include one of those in the room. But most of our stuff we didn't need to use the voltage converters for. The voltage adapters did just fine. But do your research, know what you're wanting to bring. I think we had 4 outlets.
Yeah.
In the room. You did that? Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
A couple things maybe to be aware of. Again, when traveling to another country, the TV was only in French, and there were no washcloths.
Yeah.
In the bathroom. At first, we thought they forgot to leave some for us, but
yeah, when I asked at the lobby about them, he didn't really know what I was talking about. He first thought I was talking about, asked for a hand towel, and I was like, no, but smaller hand washcloth. And yeah, they weren't sure. They didn't really know what
they thought you wanted to do laundry.
Yeah. At one point he thought I wanted to do the laundry, wanted my laundry done. So that was probably the only conversation I had where the language barrier was difficult. But yeah, it didn't seem like they knew what we wanted when I was asking for washcloths.
Yeah, thankfully we solved this by finding some of the little, they call them magic towels, but it's basically a washcloth that is like compressed down into this little brick-like thing.
Yeah.
And we found them at the World of Disney store in Disney Village, and so we bought a bunch of those and used those throughout our trip. So we had something to wash ourselves with in the shower. So be prepared for that if you're traveling to Disneyland Paris as well.
Yeah, take your own scrubby or pack your own washcloths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, the washcloth. Yeah.
Other than that, the Hotel Santa Fe is about a 15 to 20 minute walk to the parks themselves. You go through the Disney Village on your way to the parks. It's kind of a pretty little walk. you go past the other Disney hotels on your way.
Yeah, so you get to see a good view of a little bit of everything there, all the way up to the park. So it was a pretty walk, especially around the Sequoia Lodge was nice. It was along a river too, so that was very nice. It did seem to be longer at the end of the night than in the morning.
If you don't want to walk, or if you're just not up for that much walking, they do have a free bus service from the Disney hotels to the parks, and that bus ride only took maybe 5 minutes. We did that once or twice.
Yeah, it was quick. But it always looked crowded, so we thought, we could use the walk anyway. But
yeah, the lines in the morning for the bus were kind of long, and at night they were even worse. Hotel Santa Fe does have its own neat little gift shop, and it also has a restaurant called La Cantina. It's a buffet restaurant, and we ate there once or twice for breakfast and once for dinner. Wouldn't really recommend it. It was fine in a pinch, but
the food alone wasn't great. The French do breakfast differently, so there wasn't a whole lot of variety. They had a few standards and croissants and rolls and things, and I had trouble trying to figure out their coffee machines, how to get just regular coffee and cream and sugar. It was, it seemed very crowded as well, very loud. It echoed in there. I
would recommend skipping La Cantina if you stay at Hotel Santa Fe. There is, however, thankfully, a Starbucks at the Hotel Santa Fe, so you can go there in the morning and get your coffee, little pastries or whatever for your breakfast. The staff at Starbucks were really great.
They were friendly and spoke English very well as well, so it wasn't hard to order a drink. Even with, I can't even speak Starbucks, but they understood.
Yeah.
So I pretty much stuck with just a white chocolate mocha, and they understood. It was mocha blanc.
There you go.
That's all it was.
You did learn a little bit of French. Good job.
So that was good. It was nice to have something familiar as well.
Yes. Yeah, hooray for Starbucks.
Especially first thing in the morning when you don't have the brain power to process English, much less French.
That's true. Disneyland Paris is right next to a train station for Marne-la-Vallée-Chessy, which is where Disneyland Paris is. There's a train station right there, and kind of there's like this big open courtyard space between the train station, the bus parking lot, Disney Village, and the parks, and sort of in the middle of that courtyard or over by the train station there is an information booth, and that booth was a lifesaver. I think on more than one occasion we went in and told them where we wanted to go, and they told us how we could get there. They sold us the tickets to how to get there. Very, very helpful and informative.
Yeah, she even explained exactly how the station worked. Down to walking up, this is your ticket to go, and she even wrote that on mine. Go and come back. So she explained how we have to go through the turnstiles, and this is the platform you want. Just take it one stop or whatever. So super helpful, very friendly, very nice. And it was an information booth. I mean, they had hundreds of different pamphlets on different tours you could take, anything you wanted to do in Paris. It was all right there in that information booth. So it was a lot like it is in California. Everything there was connected. You got to that center hub, there's the train, the buses, Disneyland Park, and Disney Studios, and then the village, and that's like the whole 360. So very super convenient.
We booked a couple of tours. We went to Paris and Did a little bit of sightseeing there in Paris, and we did a tour to Versailles. We booked these through Disney. One of them, actually, I think we purchased the tickets at that information booth in the middle of everything. The other, I think we purchased them from the information desk at the Hotel Santa Fe. But we booked them both through Disney. Next time, though, I think we're going to just take the train to where we need to go, and just kind of do things at our own pace, see what we want to see in our own time, and just kind of get more for the time that way.
Yeah, at the information booth, I mean, they helped us out so much. I feel like we could have done it both through them and the train. I think we would have gotten a lot more time in the day had we just gotten on the first train out in the morning and seen what we wanted to see. With it being as structured, our time was kind of limited. We did the all day, or the hop on, hop off bus tour while we were in Paris, but as long as it took to get to the points that we wanted to go, we should have started earlier in the day. Yeah,
the tour bus picked us up at our hotel at like 10:30 in the morning. It's about an hour, depending on traffic, 45 minutes to an hour from the hotel to Paris, and a solid hour and a half back from Paris to the hotel. It seemed like we spent most of our tour time kind of on the bus instead of actually getting to see and do and experience the things that we wanted to do in Paris. But yeah, next time definitely we would just figure out which train we needed to get to where we want to go, and just kind of do that ourselves. That information booth by the train station is very helpful, and I'm very confident that we would be able to manage.
Yeah.
We flew in and out of the Charles de Gaulle airport in Paris, which is absolutely enormous.
It was a big airport.
Yeah, and very difficult to navigate. I kept looking for like a map or a directory like you would see at any shopping mall or anything to show, you know, you are here and this is where this is and over here, but there wasn't anything like that at all.
Yeah.
It was very hard to get around in the airport.
We were still able to find some helpful staff after a while. They did still have luggage carts like we do, and I'm pretty sure they were free.
Even though we did have difficulty finding our way around, there were random French people who would come up to us. They saw that we looked lost and they helped us find where we needed to go. This happened 2 or 3 times over the course of our trip, a couple of times at the airport, and once we went into this little town that's close by Disneyland Paris to do a little bit of shopping. You know, people approached us, saw that we were lost and needed help, and got us to where we needed to go. I know that the general, I don't know, reputation that French people have, especially Parisians, is that they're rude, they hate tourists or whatever it is, but we did not have that experience. We had great people who were very helpful and very friendly pretty much everywhere we went.
They did seem to walk and drive, like they picked where they wanted to go and they went. Whether they cut you off or not was about it. But as a people, when you talk to them, they were still very friendly, and especially when we needed help with, or because of the language barrier, they were more than happy to. Like she said a couple of times, not even asked for. You know, we just looked confused and people offered help. Yeah, it was a good trip overall. It was a lot of fun, very interesting, very neat to see. You know, stuff with so much more history, so many more years on it than what we have here in the States.
Yeah, overall an amazing trip, awesome vacation. Would definitely recommend it to anybody who's interested, and can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to go back. Even with as many days as we had in the parks, still didn't get to see and do everything, and definitely in Paris didn't get to see as much as we wanted to, so we're definitely going back.
So I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching these videos and getting a little taste of Disneyland Paris and Versailles through these videos. Hopefully we will have more vacation videos to share with you soon. So thank you for joining us.